What is going on? Welcome back to Trending Stocks. Today I want to talk to you about SoFi. I want to go over some of the current data points, what's been coming up from the company, and where I see things going from here. Before I get into any of that, make sure to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate it. And with that said, let's get right to it. So currently it is down 3.8%. 733 is the low as of right now. 768 is the high. And for volume, 11.35 million shares being traded. 20 is the average. So a little bit lower when it comes down to that. But then again, today is Friday, and historically Fridays do have a little bit low volume. The latest news was this. So Galileo payment risk platform now available to the entire financial services ecosystem. And I like this because this once again does show that SoFi is trying to do everything possible to mitigate their risk. Even though every single earnings, you do have a lot of analysts kind of hanging up on that one topic on what SoFi is doing to mitigate risk in the future. I feel like this is once again a very good example of them doing that. A lot of articles at the same time are coming out saying that SoFi is a screaming buying opportunity. So it says a bull market is coming, 3 exceptional growth stocks to buy before it's too late, and one of which is SoFi. And there's obviously a lot of different variations and a lot of different reasons to buy SoFi that I've kind of touched on in and out over the last several videos, and analysts have started to similarly notice. So there's been roughly about 3 new analyst ratings as of late, one from UBS, the other one KBW, the other one 𝗪𝗓. Andrew does have his 61% success rating, which in comparison to for analysts is fairly good, and $7.50 and $16 as price targets. So let me know your thoughts on all of that in the comments below. When it comes down to the latest round of 13Fs, I'll give you a broad overview of everything. Some are selling out, as you can see, Chapman Davis, but other than that though, everything's kind of stagnant. And beside the point, a lot of these are relatively small fish. Of course, you want to look for the bigger players such as BlackRock, Vanguard, and things like that. On a side note, ARK, so they did increase their position by 187% in Q3. So all these transactions did occur during Q3. So let me know your thoughts on that in the comments below. But as far as other data points, so looking with options activity, $2.46 million in calls being purchased versus 1.23 million in puts. So despite the pullback today, people are anticipating for it to continue to trend up. Obviously, I think that's kind of linked to the technicals, but looking at the specific calls though for the open interest, this shows all the strike prices, expiry dates. Based on this information, it is anticipated to go in the next couple of weeks between the $8 to $9 range. So kind of optimistic for that. If you are looking at puts, it is anticipated to be roughly sub $6. So kind of extreme on those viewpoints. But moving on, these are some of the transactions that did occur on the secondary market over $100,000. So you do see a small handful. Obviously, this matches with the overall lower volume, but you do see 1.07 million in one transaction based on the bid, the ask, and the selling price. These ones right here are all sales. So obviously, just once again matching with the downward motion of the stock price. Looking as far as what shorts are doing, I'll give you an overview of that. Once again, as I always say, and I'll continue to say, I don't see SoFi being a squeeze. I'm only bringing this up as a benchmark, but short score is currently 61. Utilization is 29.74%. Shorts are currently increasing around 70,000 shares, so not doing too much. 13.29% of the free float is being shorted. 112.1 million shares overall are being shorted. Cost to borrow average is right now 0.89. So still, once again, as I've said, on paper, SoFi isn't there to have a squeeze, despite having 13.29% short interest. And through the interactive broker, short availability does indicate that there is more than 10 million shares available to be shorted. So if shorts really saw SoFi as garbage, they would be massively hammering it down because they have a lot of ammunition to do so, and it's very cheap because cost to borrow, even the minimum, the max, like everything is just pennies, and these are annual rates, so they are paying 0.89% annually. So just be aware of that. Moving on from that though, I wanted to talk on just the technicals. So as it stands, it is selling off pretty significantly right now, but based on where it is at, which is $7.32, it is right now between this S2 and this S1. And in comparison to a lot of the other fintechs, it's not doing too bad, but 706 is going to be that next strong support, and vice versa, $7.49 is going to be that next strong resistance. So those are the the points to watch for. So this earnings, which again is around 10 days away, this might be the first time in a very long time it's actually had a downtrend leading to their earnings, because typically what does happen, there's a little bit more of a FOMO leading up to the earnings, and then from there, after the earnings, regardless of the outcome, even though historically they are still fairly good about member growth and everything else, it does pull back down. So once again, this one might be abnormal. Maybe the sell-off, and then after the earnings it might correct higher. Who knows? We just have to sit tight and wait. I have been monitoring on what some analysts have been doing as of late for their forecast for the upcoming earnings. There hasn't really been too much changes. So as you can see, it went from 17 to 16 analysts. So one analyst did withdraw their estimate, didn't really change the earnings per share though. And for revenue, it does show still the same 13 and still no change for the 2023 revenue. So I'll keep monitoring that up until the earnings. We'll see what does come from that, but I'm very optimistic about the member growth. As I've signaled in previous videos, a lot of the data does signal that obviously just the fundamental business grew at kind of the forecasted rate, if not the all-time highest. So who knows? Once again, we just have to sit tight and wait. But as I said in the past, even though SoFi, it might potentially be trending down based on the technicals to maybe the mid sixes potentially, then it's just short-term stuff. This is why, unfortunately, a lot of my videos are oriented towards short-term movements and price actions. Whereas if you believe in SoFi bigger picture, don't worry whether you buy in at 6, 7, 8, 10, whatever that is. Like, it's going to be significantly greater during the next expansion, as what a lot of articles are already starting to signal, that once the bull market comes, SoFi is going to be very profitable, in my opinion, who isn't a financial advisor. A couple more data points I just wanted to share with you. Looking at the momentum indicator, shows number of retail investors oddly are getting out over the last little bit, so that kind of does match the volume as well. And stochastic is a little bit bearish, so red line above the black, but it is technically neutral for that. So let me know your thoughts on SoFi. Give yourself a shout out in the comments if you have been buying, selling, holding, or what you have been doing with SoFi as well. Where do you see things going? Do you think that it is going to get to maybe the mid sixes potentially? I do see that as the low, so the S3, so around the 630, 650 kind of general area. I feel like that is going to be the low leading up to the earnings, but once again, I could be wrong. So what's your viewpoint? Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. And one final thing, if you do like my channel and support the growth, take a look at my memberships, link in the description below and also the comments. With all of that said, I appreciate all of you watching.